Welcome to part 17 on how the Cadian army group is organised, and in this episode we'll be continuing the part 2 of the heavy tank series for the Astra Militarum. We'll be looking at more detail: the Malcador heavy tank, the Malcador Annihilator, the Malcador Defender, the Malcador Infernus, the Valdor, the Minotaur, and the Ragnarok. Before we begin this episode, please consider to simply hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, leave a comment below, hit the bell icon so you'll be notified, share this video, add to favourites if you enjoyed this video, follow me on my social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you can support me through Patreon and YouTube membership. You'll gain access to the Discord page, you can check out my merch on the Etsy store, my fellow sponsors, The Outpost, and more content on the Striking Scorpion 82 YouTube channel. Thank you for your support, and what are we waiting for? Let us get stuck in on how the heavy tanks of the Astra Militarum are organised. The Malcador heavy tank. The Malcador is an ancient design still in use by the Imperial Guard. Thought to be older than the venerable Leman Russ, the Malcador is intended to fulfill the same main battle tank role, despite its larger size. The tank is commonly thought to be named after the Malcador Sigillite, known to have been a close advisor to the Emperor, and for creating the Administratum. Just like its namesake, the Malcador's origins are obscure, and its usage across the Imperium is infrequent and rare, with some regions having never seen or heard of the tank. The Malcador dates back to the early years of the Imperium, although exactly when it is a matter of mystery, even to the Adeptus Mechanicus. Due to its name, it is thought that the Malcador was introduced just after the Horus Heresy, a dark time of uncertainty, when the Imperium was desperate for new war machines. With much knowledge and production capacity lost, along with designs such as the Land Raider, now reserved for an elite few, the Malcador may have been put into mass production in an attempt to fill the void left by the apocalyptic fighting. Whatever the case may be, by the time of the 41st millennium, the Malcador has, in many areas, been entirely phased out of service, while a few Imperial Guard regiments continue using the Malcador out of a sense of tradition. In most cases, the large part of existing tanks are either held in strategic reserves or relegated to second-line forces such as PDFs, as well as very few Forge Worlds continue to produce Malcadors or replacement parts for them, though a few exceptions exist, most notably Mancand Secundus in the Segmentum Pacificus. Somewhat larger and heavier than the more familiar and versatile Leman Russ, the Malcador's bulk and heavy layers of armour plating gives it improved durability. Its main armament is the venerable battle cannon, while secondary fire comes for the hull-mounted heavy bolter and sponson heavy stubbers. In some tanks, these weapons are replaced with autocannons and las cannons for additional firepower. The tank and its variants also mount a searchlight and can carry a pintle-mounted storm bolter or heavy stubber and or a single hunter-killer missile. While a well-armoured and durable tank does suffer from several limitations. One is the fact that its primary weapon is mounted in a limited traverse turret embrasure, while the hull's shape and armouring further limits the firing arcs of its other weapons. This flaw can prove a liability on the chaotic battlefield, though an experienced commander can overcome it by supporting the tank with other combat elements. More damning is the engine plant, a thermic combustor design more commonly used in agricultural and industrial machinery. While perfectly serviceable in its normal roles, the engine is underpowered in relation to the Malcador's size and weight, and can be more easily knocked out by enemy fire. This poor engine performance and a very poor fuel efficiency has been more responsible than any other factor for the tank's demise in status. The Malcador consists of 7 members that operate the vehicle. Number 1 is the tank commander, number 2 is the driver, number 3, 4, 5 and 6 are gunners, and number 7 is the loader. The following is the Malcador heavy tank's insignia, starting from lowest to highest in command of the Malcador heavy tank. The lowest ranking insignia operating the Malcador heavy tank is that of the Lance Corporal, and the rest of the tank crew are that of Guardsman First Class. The next highest rank is that of a Corporal, and again the rest of the tank crew are that of Guardsman First Class. The next highest rank is that of a Sergeant, and again the rest of the tank crew are that of Guardsman First Class. The next highest rank is that of a Staff Sergeant, and again the rest of the tank crew are that of Guardsman First Class. The next highest rank is that of Sergeant First Class, and the rest of the tank crew are that of Guardsman First Class. The next highest rank is that of a Master Sergeant, and again the rest of the tank crew are that of Guardsman First Class. The next highest rank is that of First Sergeant, and the rest of the tank crew are that of Guardsman First Class. The next highest rank is that of a Sergeant Major, and the rest of the tank crew are that of Guardsman First Class. The next highest rank is that of Second Lieutenant, and the rest of the tank crew are that of Guardsman First Class. The next highest rank is that of First Lieutenant, and the rest of the tank crew are that of Guardsman First Class. The next highest rank is that of a Captain, and the rest of the tank crew are that of Guardsman First Class. And the highest insignia that a tank commander can obtain is that of the rank of Major, and the rest of the tank crew are that of Specialist Guardsman. The Malcador Annihilator heavy tank. The Malcador Annihilator is thought to be field refit of battle-damaged or incomplete Malcadors, replacing the battle cannon with twin-linked las cannons and a hull-mounted heavy bolter with a demolisher cannon. While this attempt to increase the Malcador's versatility by allowing it to perform an anti-tank role against both regular and super heavy tanks is admirable, it remains too large and too slow to be a true tank hunter, and lacks durability or endurance to challenge true heavyweights like the Baneblade in open battle. When operating as part of a wider offensive though, the Malcador Annihilator can still prove its worth in the hands of a skilled crew. Just like the Malcador heavy tank, the Malcador Annihilator consists of 7 crew members, number 1 being the tank commander, number 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 are gunners, and number 7 being the loader. The Malcador Annihilator, when it comes to the vehicle's organisation, is exactly the same as the Malcador battle tank. Here is a quick overview of the unit's insignia. Starting with the lowest rank, Lance Corporal, rest of the tank crew are that of Guardsman First Class, and then Corporal, and then Sergeant, Staff Sergeant, Sergeant First Class, Master Sergeant, First Sergeant, Sergeant Major, Second Lieutenant, First Lieutenant, captain, and the highest in rank in insignia, the major, alongside the rest of the tank crew of specialist guardsmen. The Malcador Defender Heavy Tank. The Malcador Defender is one of the most unusual and arguably effective of the Malcador variants, and is more common than the original design. Its limited traverse turret embrasure has been entirely refitted with 5 heavy bolters providing a complete 360-degree coverage around the tank, while the demolisher cannon and sponson weapons are maintained, transforming its role into that of a breakthrough tank. The Malcador Defender is a mobile fortress well suited to close-quarters combat during urban and trench warfare. With the demolisher cannon used against enemy strongpoints and fortifications, the additional weaponry does require a larger crew, with 8 troopers crammed into a tight, sweltering hull, and forces the commander to double as a heavy bolter gunner. That the tank seldom operates far from resupply or support helps mitigate some of the original design's failings. The Malcador Defender Heavy Tank consists of 8 crew members. Number 1 is the tank commander. Number 2 is the driver. Number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are gunners, and number 8 is the loader. The following is the unit's insignia, starting from lowest to highest. The tank commander is of the rank of Lance Corporal, whereas the rest of the tank crew are that of Guardsman First Class. Next highest rank is that of a Corporal. The next highest rank is that of a Sergeant. The next highest rank is that of a Staff Sergeant. The next highest rank is that of Sergeant First Class. The next highest rank is that of a Master Sergeant. The next highest rank is that of a First Sergeant. The next highest rank is that of a Sergeant Major. The next highest rank is that of a Second Lieutenant. The next highest rank is that of First Lieutenant. The next highest rank is that of a Captain. And then finally, the highest rank obtainable for the Malcador Defender is that of a Major, and the rest of his tank crew are that of Specialist Guardsmen. The Valdor Tank Hunter. The Valdor Tank Hunter is an ancient variant of the Malcador heavy tank used by the Imperial Guard. It is one of the largest and oldest tank hunters used by the Imperium, but is perhaps most notable for its arcane knowledge, dating back to the Dark Age of technology. The Valdor Tank Hunter is said to be named after the great hero Constantine Valdor, leader of the Emperor's legendary Castodian Guard during the Horus Heresy. Cryptic data fragments held Scholastica Bellicose on Mordia date. It is sometime after the heresy, during the bitter wars of the so-called Scouring. It is said to have been the answer of the great enemy's numerical superiority of land raiders following the capture of Anvilus IX earlier in the heresy, and was most likely used by loyal Adeptus Mechanicus forces and those Imperial Army units with close ties to the machine cult. In the 41st millennium, the Valdor remains associated with the Adeptus Mechanicus, with small numbers found on Mars itself, and certain far-flung strongholds such as Lythi Het and Cryaxis II. But despite similarities, it shares with the Malcador its unique and high advanced systems are beyond the abilities of most Forge Worlds to construct or maintain. Among the Imperial Guard, a handful of these tanks are maintained as treasured relics by the most venerable of armoured regiments. The Cadian 1st Armoured Regiment is reported to have 5 Valdors within its motor pool. During the Siege of Varax, Valdors were detected only as part of the renegade forces and only at a later stage of the conflict, though managed to have an effect much disproportionate to their number. It is believed by the 88th Army's intelligence officers
that in the Wracks stores there was no more than 20 to 30 of these tanks, and the renegades of Wracks didn't have the knowledge to operate them. So the situation changed after arriving of the Dark Magos and the warband of the Steel Brethren Chaos Space Marines. The evil Marines managed to revive the Valdors in a payment, took precious data core of their design and several Valdors with them, which raises the possibilities of their powerful tanks in the future conflicts with the arch-enemy's forces. The system which sets the Valdor apart from the other tank hunters is its primary weapon, the neutron laser projector. The projector and its neutronic coil arc reactor, while more compact and less energy intensive than comparable weapons such as the Shadow Sword's volcano cannon, still consumes much of the Valdor's internal space. It is also risky to operate due to relative lack of reactor shielding, especially in the containment coils are ruptured, but is nevertheless a powerful weapon, most deadly against smaller tanks who lack the thick shielding and protective mass of large, superior heavy vehicles. A sponson-mounted heavy stubber serves as the Valdor's secondary weapon, although it can be swapped with an autocannon, heavy bolter, heavy flamer or las cannon, and is equipped with a searchlight and smoke launchers as standard. Other upgrades include a dozer blade, extra armor, a hunter-killer missile, and a pintle-mounted heavy stubber or stormbolter. The Valdor heavy tank consists of 5 crew members. Number 1 is the tank commander, number 2 is the engineer, number 3 is the driver, number 4 is the gunner, and number 5 is the loader. Starting with the lowest rank, the Lance Corporal is in command of this vehicle, and then number 2, the engineer, he is of the rank of Technician Grade 6, also known as a Specialist Guardsman, and the rest of the tank crew are that of Guardsman First Class, then Corporal, then Sergeant, Staff Sergeant, Sergeant First Class, Master Sergeant, First Sergeant, Second Lieutenant. The Engineer is of the rank of Technician Grade 5, also known as a Lance Corporal. First Lieutenant. And for the highest rank obtainable for the tank destroyer is that of a Captain. The Malcador Infernus. The Malcador Infernus is a flamethrower tank, though its role has been largely supplanted by the faster and more reliable Hellhound, and is more often found in second-line units such as planetary defense forces or relegated to civilian duties. The tank mounts a massive Inferno gun in its hull and tows a large fuel trailer behind it, where promethium is stored as a separate chemicals before being mixed together in a chamber just behind the gun's barrel. The resulting chemical jelly jets out and sticks to any surface, burning with intense heat. While powerfully effective against enemy infantry, this huge flamer is also an effective mine-clearing device, using the sudden heat to detonate the explosives fuses. However, carrying a large amount of flammable fuel in a separate trailer does make for a tempting target, and if detonated by enemy fire, can result in a fiery explosion which incinerates tank and crew. Posting an Infernus are rarely well received. Some unscrupulous commanders have taken to replacing the promethium with corrosive chemicals and acidic gases, turning the vehicle into a deadly toxic sprayer. This is especially common with regiments like the Death Corps of Craig, when the complete genocide of enemy is ordered. Besides its Inferno gun, the Malcador Infernus also mounts 2 Sponson heavy stubbers which can be replaced with heavy bolters, heavy flamers, autocannons, and las cannons. While the vehicle is equipped with a searchlight, it lacks typical smoke launchers, instead generating an impromptu smoke screen by ejecting fuel into its hot engine. Some will also carry a pintle-mounted heavy stubber and or a single hunter-killer missile. Like other Malcador patterns, the Infernus still suffers for an underpowered engine, causing it to struggle on the steep inclines and overheat. The Malcador Infernus heavy tank consists of 3 members. Number 1 is the tank commander, number 2 is the driver, and number 3 being the gunner. Starting with the lowest rank, the lowest ranking tank commander is that of a lance corporal, whereas the rest of the tank crew are that of guardsman first class. Then corporal, then sergeant, then staff sergeant, then sergeant first class, master sergeant, first sergeant, second lieutenant, first lieutenant, and the highest ranking obtainable is that of a captain. The Minotaur Artillery Heavy Tank. The Minotaur is a self-propelled artillery vehicle of the Imperial Guard, heavily armoured and armed with 2 Earthshaker cannons. This highly durable vehicle is intended to operate in the heart of combat, providing fire support while under threat from enemies' guns, and redeploying under its own power. The exact origins of the Minotaur, like so many vehicles, is not entirely known. Some scholars believe it is to predate even the Great Crusade, citing certain Ferocios of Tempilis Nemesis of the Holy Terror itself. Others cite the similarities it shares with the Malcador, itself an ancient design, with a forgotten history, to theorize that it may be a variant of the heavy tank, or at least was constructed with the intention of using the same facilities. Regardless, by the time of the 41st millennium, the Minotaur has become a rare vehicle, largely supplanted by the Basilisk in the Imperial Guard service. Though it has remained in use among certain siege artillery regiments, and thousands are believed to be held in the Departamento Minotarum strategic reserves. At the Siege of Vrax, the Minotaur made a relatively late appearance, employed by the forces of Chaos, as the large Imperial besiegers began assaulting the certain wall of Citadel itself. About 100 are believed to have been contained within Vrax, deep storage arsenals, and were employed to devastating effect in artillery duels. However, due to the aggressive manner in which they were used by the traitors, around a dozen were recovered by the Death Corps quartermasters, and later reconstructed by the Adeptus Mechanicus. While sharing the chassis and engine of the Malcador, the Minotaur has many unusual features not found in other Imperial artillery vehicles. The most noticeable of these is its deck layout, with engine drive systems and ammunition eventually distributed across the superstructure, the crew compartment placed in the front of the vehicle, and the twin primary weapons placed on the central axis point facing rearwards. The Minotaur is therefore able to reverse its prepared firing positions and then rapidly move forward through its ground it has already cleared, while the center line mounting not only allows it to carry its massive payload, but also provide inherent recoil stabilization when firing. In addition to their thick armor plating, more commonly found on heavy tanks, the Minotaur is also equipped with searchlight and smoke launchers and can be upgraded with extra armor, a hunter-killer missile, dozer blades, and a pintle-mounted storm bolter or heavy bolter. If the Minotaur had one drawback, it is its complexity of its construction. This is especially true for its advanced hydraulic and recoil compensation systems, and amount of armoured protection it requires, factors which have contributed to its steady decline over the years. The Minotaur heavy tank artillery crew consists of 4 members, number 1 being the tank commander, number 2 being the driver, number 3 being the gunner, and number 4 being the loader. Starting with the lowest ranking insignia for the Minotaur in command of the vehicle is that of a Lance Corporal, and the rest of the tank crew are that of Guardsman First Class. The next highest rank is that of a Corporal, then Sergeant, Staff Sergeant, Sergeant First Class, and finally the highest ranking obtainable for the Minotaur is that of Master Sergeant. The Ragnarok heavy tank. The Ragnarok was a heavy tank, first developed on Krieg during its civil war to meet the specific challenges of the time. With both sides caught in a stalemate, it became increasingly clear that the war was turning into a battle of attrition, and that the winner would be the side of the most troops and guns. As the Lehman-Russ battle tank became increasingly rare and ill-suited to the sulphurous battlefield with which no man's land, the Ragnarok was conceived to take its place, and a tank that didn't need to be fast, as long as it could traverse treacherous terrain, nor one with a long range, as versatility beneath the pollution-clouded skies of Krieg was short, but most importantly, as simple to construct as possible. The resulting vehicle was a slab-sided monster armed with a Ragnarok battle cannon, a hull-mounted las cannon, and 2 heavy stubbers which can be switched with 2 heavy bolters, but performed exactly as required since the civil war of the Ragnarok had been recommissioned by the other units, most notably the Berean Siege Masters, which referred to the machine affectionately as the Mark I mobile bunker. Due to its steady decline over the years and centuries and questionable and suspicious heritage, the Malcador is gradually being replaced, and most commonly by the Lehman-Russ. However, a heavy tank is still required for the army groups of the Cadian forces as well as other regiments of the Astra Militarum, to help reinforce depleted regiments that desperately need heavy tanks. The vehicle that is currently in development has not been designated with its real name. However, the most common name that we know about through leaked sources is what's known as the Rogal DORN heavy tank. A great quantity of these vehicles are in the production line as we speak, and therefore it'll be a great asset for the Astra Militarum to use when it comes to dealing with the enemies of the Emperor. Here is a quick overview of all the units insignia that is mentioned in this particular video. Guardsman First Class, Specialist Guardsman, Specialist Guardsman also known as Technician Grade 6, Seasoned Guardsman, Seasoned Guardsman Technician Grade 5, Senior Guardsman, Sergeant, Staff Sergeant, Sergeant First Class, Master Sergeant, First Sergeant, Sergeant Major, Second Lieutenant,
First Lieutenant, Captain, and then Major. Thank you for watching this episode on how the Malcador heavy tanks are organised. In the next episode, we'll be looking at the super heavy tanks of the Astra Militarum. Vehicles such as the Bane Blade, the Bane Hammer, the Bane Sword, the Doom Hammer, the Hell Hammer, the Shadow Sword, the Storm Blade, the Storm Lord, and the Storm Sword. Remember, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment below, hit the bell icon so you'll be notified, and share this video, add to favourites, follow me on my social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can also support me through Patreon. Patrons unlock exclusive perks and furthermore get involved in battle reports. You can also check me out and support me through YouTube membership. YouTube members and patrons alike will get access to the Discord page for exclusive behind the scenes posts, upcoming projects and more. A massive shout out and thank you to all those that are currently supporting me through all the social media pages and for those who wish to contribute monthly towards this channel. Do check out the Etsy store, the JB Wargamer 87 merchandise, and a big shout out to the Outpost Gaming. They have also set up an affiliation link that is unique to the channel. Do click the link if you wish to support the channel whenever you purchase your items for all your hobby needs. By doing so, really does help support the channel. This channel is in coalition with the Striking Scorpion 82 YouTube channel, and unlock exclusive battle reports on his YouTube membership platform as well. All the information and links and chapters of this video are in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and happy wargaming. For honour, and for glory, and for Cadia, Cadia will stand.